Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to Kentucky Lasslo. I've got a really cool treat for us today. This is the 22 training rifle from Germany that my grandfather brought back with him after World War II. This is one of the weapons that he brought back. He also brought back a Luger, and I did a couple videos on that. I'll post a link in the description box below. You guys can check that out if you want to. This is a 22 training rifle from Germany that was made in 1935. You can kind of see the crest here. It's a really cool, well-built rifle. A lot of them were made by Mauser. This is one of the more rarer makers, but I'll be discussing all that in a minute. We'll get some close-ups, even show some footage of me firing it. But I'm really excited to tell you all about this German 22 training rifle. This rifle's traveled a long way. It's come from the very heart of Germany to the very heart of Kentucky itself. The craftsmanship of this rifle and others like it is just awesome. I mean, they took really good care of these. They made them well. All the stampings and things are very, very crisp. The stocks are nice. And speaking of stock, here is a duffel cut that my grandfather had to make to this rifle in order to ship it home. And I'll discuss more about why he did that in just a little bit. Wolfenstadt is the manufacturer of this particular rifle. And that is in Suhl, Germany. I believe I said that right. Deutsches Sportmodell is right there with a little crest stamp next to it. German words are huge. Reichlingstahl is the name of the steel used to make the barrel. Now, as you've probably noticed, this training rifle closely resembles a rifle that was used by the German Army in World War II. This rear sight functions just like the one on the K98, but it's obviously calibrated for the 22 long rifle. And here's a quick look at that front sight blade. It's time to take this rifle to the 50-yard range. As you can see, they are single-loader 22 rifles. Shooters would load one at a time, fire, eject the round, and repeat. The trigger on this rifle is fantastic and the action is very smooth. As you can see, it groups pretty well at 50 yards. I'm going to try it again though with some better ammo. Now these rifles, called DSMs or Deutsches Sportmodell, I think I said that right, these were commercial rifles. They were bought by Germans, they were bought by gun clubs mainly. Now the Sturmabteilung, I believe I said that right as well, the SA, they were the paramilitary wing of the Nazi party, okay? They were put in charge in 1933 of German national sports, especially the shooting division. Now, the first thing they wanted to do was to standardize the arms. Now, there were a lot of different 22s out there, but they wanted all of them to look like this. Now, these look like a very iconic rifle from the German side in World War II. That is the K98K. They wanted these training 22s to closely mimic all the parts, pieces, and functionality of the K98K that was coming down the pipe really soon. I wonder why they did that. They clearly wanted shooting sports to double as military training, because once you got familiar with one of these, whenever they put a K98K in your hands, you pretty much would know the function, how the sights worked, just pretty much, even the takedown and everything else. You'd be pretty familiar with it once you were given the real K98K. Now, 15 firms were either making, producing, or just creating parts for these DSM rifles. An estimated 130,000 of these were created. Now, most of these were bought and used by the various gun clubs, and these were often shared by all the Germans that were learning how to fire these. And this particular rifle right here could have been held and handled by hundreds, if not thousands of people training with these 22 rifles. Pretty cool. Now, these rifles were eventually eclipsed and replaced by the KKW rifle. I'll put the German name down here at the bottom. The KKW rifles, they just copied the Mauser K98K just a lot better than these, even though these mimic it very, very well, in my opinion. To reiterate, most of these were owned, almost exclusively owned by gun clubs and organizations for training. I don't really know of any that were privately owned. I'm sure that there were a few, but mainly these were for gun clubs, organizations for pretty much military training before stuff went down. An estimated 80 to 90% of these rifles actually exist here in the United States. Why is that? These 22 rifles were highly prized and sought after by our GIs. They love to send these home. I mean, think about it. They fired a 22 long rifle. That's a very common, cheap caliber. And a lot of them, the GIs wanted to send these home to their sons to play with, shoot with, hunt with, and everything else. They are very accurate. This rifle can shoot better than I can. I am going to take it back out to the range and fire some subsonics through it, see how well it groups with those. Whenever the American forces would capture German towns, villages, and things, one of the first things they would do is have all the villagers turn in all of their weapons. Doesn't matter what they are. If it's a 22, a pistol, a musket, who knows what, black powder. Anything that was considered a weapon, a firearm, they had to turn in, and the mayor or leader of whatever town or village would be in charge, or they would help them locate and pile up all the weapons. Now, the penalty for not turning in all the weapons was pretty harsh. It was death in some instances. So what to do with all these weapons that were just lying around, turned in by all the people of these towns? Well, our GIs would pick out weapons like this to send home as war trophies. Now, my grandfather got, like I said, this pretty work of art here, and he also got a Luger, which is awesome. Now, here's another look at that duffel cut that he had to make. Now, he hastily had to saw this stock down. Of course, the action and everything was disassembled from it, but as you can tell, this stock is long. So this had to mimic the K98K. Now, to ship these home, they had to be a certain length. They couldn't be so long, so the duffel cut was done, and sometimes collectors actually like rifles that have the duffel cut. It's just another piece of history. So my dad even told me he asked him, why didn't you cut behind this barrel band here? But I guess in his haste, just to get it sent home, made the cut right there. But it's a common thing with a lot of these bringbacks. If you have any questions about this rifle, I'll do my best to answer them. Just comment below. If I need to do some more research, of course I will, and I'll try to answer everyone's questions. I'm going to make another video firing this thing at the range. I'll probably do it in a short. The shorts seem to do really well for my channel, so stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't. Please send a like if you can. They really help us out, and y'all have a great day.